Welcome to another Tuesday Tips. This is Pam Dunwell with Your Nurse Advocate Consulting. And for this week's tips, we're going to be talking about kind of a delicate subject, probably a kind of a point of contention, so to speak, for many. But I know those of you that care for aging parents and are working, you have your own family, so you have family responsibilities, your kids are active, you're trying to manage the care for your aging parent, you want to do a good job at work, maybe you've got a career, maybe you have a lot of extra responsibilities, and you've got all these balls juggling in the air. And how can you keep it all together? And it's very stressful. And I'm going to say right up front, I'm going to give you 7 tips. I'm going to talk about a lot of ways that you can help, but I'm not going to sit here and try and tell you that if you listen to me or use our services, we're going to, just poof, make everything into this rosy glass colored situation where it's all, smiles and, that's caring for your aging parents can be very stressful and it's tough. It's hard. It's hard to balance all these things. So I'm not here to tell you that I can make all the issues go away. But what I am here to say, and with our tips that we're going to talk about, it is possible to try and get a handle on it and put some things in place to do the best job that you can to avoid the interruptions. And if need be, rely on a service such as a health patient or nurse advocate to come alongside you, share the responsibility with you so that you don't have to tackle all this on your own. So, in a perfect world, our parents would have taken care of all of the things, all the pre-planning, all the decisions, all that. And sometimes, that's the perfect world. And those your parents are the people that we like to work with because, we want to get everything in place so that it doesn't become a burden to those adult children, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. So we're here to help pick up the pieces. So enough of the gloom and doom, but let's get into some tips that can, help you make the best of this situation. So let's go ahead and get started. So tip number 1 is the biggest thing is to plan. The more you plan, the less interruptions that you have. Plan doctor's appointments. If you're having to take your aging parents to the doctor, plan it around your work schedule. You set the schedule for the doctor's appointments. So in other words, make the appointments. The biggest thing is I'll mention this again in the tip about utilizing technology, but get on your parents' MyCare, get on their online patient portal so that you can get access to their appointments. You can ask the doctor questions. You can email, you could do that from work. You can email them and, take as much control of that. The more pre-planning that you do, the less surprises that you're going to have. If you set the appointments and if they need a ride, you can make arrangements for that ride ahead of time. Create a list of tasks, that need your immediate attention with your aging parents. Focus on what can wait, what needs to be done, and then see if there are family members, neighbors, or friends that can assist with that plan. Maybe someone has a day, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that later. What are the needs? So the biggest thing is what are the needs of your aging parents? Are they safe at home? What particular issues do they have trouble with? Because then we can go ahead and put a plan in place to address those needs, hopefully to take some stress off of you so that when you're at work, you can focus on work. The other thing about plan for self-care. You need a break. You're going to burn out. And then there's bitter feelings, and then there's arguings, and before you know it, you're nothing but the caregiver. You're not the son or daughter anymore, and it just makes for a bad mix. So, make sure that you have time for self-care. There is respite available. Check with your clinic. You can check with us. You can check with the doctor's office. There are respite programs that you can use, like an assisted living and nursing home, or sometimes, depending on the situation, a hospital where you can take a week or so, and you can, and oftentimes it's private pay, but they can go into a facility like that just for a short period of time. So maybe you could take a vacation or do that. So no respite is available. And please practice that self-care, arrange for some time, for you and your family. One of the most helpful and practical things is to schedule regular check-in calls. I know, a lot of people can get a lot of phone calls different times of the day, and sometimes they just pop in at the most inopportune times. But if you can schedule regular check-in calls when it's convenient for you at work and it doesn't interfere with your job, maybe you call them in the morning before you work, maybe you call them at lunch, maybe a neighbor or another family member or sibling can call them at another time during the day. And if everybody has set days and times to make these check-in calls, with your parents, then if you're calling them, if you have to address or deal with anything, that's on your time. You're not getting that call right when you're in the middle of a meeting or in the middle of something else. So regular check-in calls can really make a difference. Create a family, friend, neighbor calendar to track, doctor's appointments. Again, we'll talk in technology, but Google Docs are a great thing. Reach out or look it up. If you don't know how to use a Google Doc, they're very good because you can share that Google Doc with other people with their email addresses. You can make a link so that everybody can see it in real time. And if somebody updates that Google Doc or adds a note about your parents or that, everybody can see that in real time. So that's really helpful to keep everybody aware what's going on. It's difficult. For our clients, we have a Share the Care program where we can implement. It's a volunteer program where we implement church family members, neighbors, friends, and we kind of put together this caregiving group and schedules, and it's kind of a formalized care team. So that's something else that can be done, and we can help with if that's something that you want. The next one would be managing emergencies. Make sure that your loved one has a go folder, and we provide these for our clients, and it's got a copy of their post form or DNR, advanced directives, insurance card, doctor's information, emergency contact, so that if they need to go at a moment's notice and you have to meet them there, or they're going to be called, the ambulance or that, they have this folder. This is copies. It's not originals. This is copy, except for the post form. That yellow card needs to be the original to go with them. But other than that, it's copies. So they just grab that folder and they know that they have everything they need to begin their care where they get when they're going. The next one, number 5, is know your resources. The biggest thing is check in with the ADRC, Senior Resource Center, Center of Aging and Disability. Every county and every state has one. They have different names, but basically Health and Human Services would know exactly what it's called and what that aging government agency would be. They are the one, they know all the local resources in your area. They can also meet with you to see what resources your parent may qualify for. There might be adult daycare in your area. Medicare used to pay for the adult daycare. They do not anymore. So Medicaid may pay some, but otherwise it might be a private pay thing. But there are adult daycares out there where you can bring your parent there for the day and pick them up after, just as you did with your kids when they were younger. Another resource is you can hire a nurse advocate, someone like us that could come alongside you, help you put the plan in place, implement the plan, changes needed, help you put all the resources in order. So that's something, another a resource. We talked about technology. We talked about, remote monitoring that may be done at the clinic, or a life alert, something where they can wear a bracelet or a necklace, a pendant, push the button, and it responds to the first responders. We talked about the My Chart. Number 6, create a backup plan. If you've got an important meeting or a non-negotiable task that needs to be completed, create a backup plan for that day, whether it's a neighbor, a family member, church member, other relatives, someone who can be that backup. If your parents are okay at home for a few hours, but if they need something, just pre-plan that. If you know that you're going to have, again, a non-negotiable task where you need to have 100% focus on your work. Obviously, if there's an emergency, that's different, but try and remove all the barriers for you to be able to do a good job. And the last thing, number 7, is just about working with your employer. Know your employee benefits. Have that conversation with your employer, or your HR director, and let them know what's going on, that you are the primary caregiver for your aging parents, and fill them in. Get the information on your FMLA. What does that look like with your employer? We have in our blog post, we talk about that you must work for a company with at least 50 employees. a government agent, elementary school in order to be covered. There's state laws. I mean, everything is a little different in your area. So the best place is to check with your company or the business that you're working for as far as FMLA. And normally it's up to 3 months, 12 weeks. Oftentimes it's non-paid. You might be able to use your vacation time first so that you can get paid. You can certainly keep your health benefits while you're on FMLA. You can, and even those 12 weeks, you can even take them in smaller chunks if you need to take a week or a couple weeks here, not have to take them all at once. So again, please communicate with your employer, your workplace, and let them know what's going on, and make sure that you also, this is part of your planning process, to have these things ready to go in case you need to have to leave your job for a short period of time. So, one of the biggest obstacles, to balancing work and caregiving for aging parents is, the inflexibility of many jobs. Again, even more important to have that conversation. Maybe your job has flexible hours. Can you work from home? Can you work from home part-time? Can you work from home? Maybe if you can work from home a couple of days a week, maybe that's all that you need, and you can have other caregivers the other day. I mean, sometimes I just got to try and be creative and think out of the box. But again, and I know I've said this many, many times, but it's plan, 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 plan. The more plans you have in place, the less unexpected interruptions that you're going to have. So, in conclusion, caring for your aging parents, this really, like we talked, it really is a daunting task, especially when you're juggling caregiver responsibilities plus your work schedule. But, trying, all or some of these 7 steps that may be appropriate for you, may be able to give you some of that balance with work and caregiving. Like I said, this is never going to be easy, and it's never going to be, I'm not going to give you some pie in the sky, formula that's going to fix everything for you. But what we do want to do is we do want to make this labor, this of love, and this journey of caregiving with your aging parents, just to reduce the amount of stress and overwhelm that you have. So at least we're helping to try and avoid burnout, giving you a break sometime, and looking at all the other alternatives that we can do to help share the load and share the responsibility of taking care of your aging parents. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and we're going to wrap it up. If anybody has any questions, please drop them in the chat. We'll be sure to get them answered for you. And we go live in our community every Tuesday, our Facebook community, and that is Speaking Out on the Care of Your Aging Parents. And so if you want to check us out and request to join that forum, it's free. We share a lot of tips, strategies. We have great discussions. And we also have, I have a lot of files and a lot of checklists and cheat sheets that we can use to hopefully help you on this journey. So take care, and we'll see you for the next Tuesday tips.